Everyone. Here we have the CritCast from assignment 2. It is Wednesday the 29th, I believe, of March, and I'm actually recording this from New York, where I'm here for APAD, which you might want to look up. It's the Association of International Photography Dealers, and maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll actually take a little video and post it and let you guys see what it's like. So basically what it is commercial photography galleries come here and show their artist work, and you can it's a place for collectors to go and people to kind of see what's represented by galleries, and it's all in one place. So there's people from all over the country, maybe all over the world. There might be some European galleries here too. But I will give you guys a little APAD update, so watch for that. Anyway, so let's go over today's critique, or I mean this week's critique for assignment 2. So we see the top ranked assignments. I realized that there was a little confusion, and I'm trying to do some things in CritViz to like push it, like make it more elastic in terms of what it can do in terms of finding out how you guys are responding to each other's work. So it wasn't entirely successful this week, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over 4 of them. I'm going to go over Alicia, Fergus, Olivia, and Sarah's work. Kihan, I did an individual critique of her work already. So so let's talk about these, this work, and what I'm finding successful and what I'm finding not as successful. But before I start, I want to talk about a couple things that I've noticed in general that are some things to think about. One is work on the sizing. It seems like there's inconsistent sizing, and I think work on that a little bit. Some of you are still filling the page, and again, remember that crops it, so do not fill the page. Keep the aspect ratio, keep all the information, do not crop the picture. And when you fill the page, you crop the picture. The picture is enlarged to fit the paper page size, and some of the image falls off, and I don't think it's a good way of starting to learn about how you see. The other thing that's happening is a lot of blasted out light. So a lot of you the whites are just going immediately into total whiteness, which, as you guys learned, some of you got this wrong on the quiz today, that's 255. 255 in digital editing land. The pixels are all at that level. So think about that. Think about the blasted out light. For a lot of you, it's happening when you're photographing the sky, but you're photographing from a place in shadow into light. So really pay attention. Digital cameras have a little bit more latitude sometimes than film does. I don't know, but whatever. It doesn't matter. But when you're photographing in the shade and in the bright sun, it's too much for the camera to get everything. And there are ways to approach this, but you also end up with sometimes color differentiation. So I'd like you guys to think more about that and think more about the aesthetic pleasingness of, that's not a right word, between photographing, between having shadow and bright sunlight in the same picture. And I'd like to move you away from that unless it's an active creative choice. So really start thinking about photographing the whole picture in the shade, in the shadow, or all in the sun. But that's kind of hard because there'll be shadows falling in. But really start paying attention to that, because the flip side of it, which several of you are having trouble with, is the blacks just go into total blackness, which is again 0 on the histogram. And I would love to see a little bit more detail in the blacks for a lot of you. And that may involve like using camera raw and pulling out the dark tones. I know not all of you are doing editing on your pictures, but it is something to think about. So either do some post-production and work to pull out those dark tones, or what I'd like you to do is pay more attention to when you're shooting. And definitely if you're not going to if you're not going to shoot HDR or do digital manipulation, it's going to happen when you take the picture. And I think there's no reason why all of you can't take pictures that don't have that high contrast, but I think you just need to start thinking about it. Of course, there may be a point where that is a creative decision that you're making, and some of you may want to do that in the future. But I'd like you to like work on kind of all getting control of that. Let's see. I had a few other things. Yeah. So pay attention to the harsh light. And so the one last thing that I want all of you to think about too is the difference between making pictures that look cool and making pictures that are about something that's meaningful to you. And I know meaningful to you that speak to other people. And that's just like a total double-edged complex thing, right? Because I don't want you to just post your snapshots and you're like, this is really important to me because it's when we went to Hawaii and we had a great time, and people look at the picture and they're like, yeah, there's just two people on the beach. But on the other hand, some of you have made pictures that are like beautiful and slick, but they feel like, to me, they don't have a heart in them, right? And they don't have something that's like, well, why should I look at your picture instead of somebody else's picture, or something that I see in, like I talked about with some of you with food. So that's like, and that's why this is complicated. That's why you can't just read about this in a textbook and do it. It's why it takes making lots of pictures and looking at each other's pictures and figuring out what's important to you, and then how to express that to other people. And, think about really good novels or really good pieces of art. Take something that's like deeply, intensely emotional or meaningful or poignant or profound, and put it into a form where they can express it and other people can experience it. So that's our goal. It's a kind of a lofty goal, I think, but that's what I'm pushing you guys towards. And I want you to start by making pictures of things that are meaningful and that you have an engagement with. And hopefully the next assignment is going to leave a little more space for this. These first two were kind of warm up, and I'm super excited about what I'm seeing. I think overall you guys have a really good aesthetic sense. your aesthetic sense and technical sense, and I feel like I'm seeing some really strong work from all of you. So, all right, so that's the overall, and I'm going to go with the specifics now in the next cast.